Okay, basil and bees. Chad, why are you going to talk about basil and bees? Well, this time of year, where we're in the end of October, it'll be November very soon, and I still have all this basil out here. But why? Well, for the bees. Before we get into this video, do me the 4 favors: share, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so already, and join this fast-growing community of like-minded gardeners here on YouTube. Okay, so what I do every year, and I've been doing this since the second year I started gardening, or maybe it was even the first year, but I companion plant basil all over the garden for many reasons. That's a whole nother video on that. But why do I let the basil get to this size right there? I mean, look at how big that is, y'all. I mean, you can totally see all the flowers, which I showed in the beginning, and then down below are the basil leaves themselves, right? Is there anything better than fresh basil in the garden? Man, I'm telling you, whoo, love it. But why? Why do I just let them grow and grow and grow? Well, this is kind of a two-parter here. When they're around tomato plants, I let them get as big as they can, because basil will block the smell of tomato plants from the hawk moth, which is the moth that lays the eggs for the tomato hornworm. So that's the main reason I let basil get that big around tomato plants. But if you didn't notice, there are no tomato plants. And as you can see, I've thinned out the basil that used to be right here. Still got one there, got a few right over there before I do something in this bed. I'm so far behind on fall planting, but that's okay. But looking back this way, look at all the basil. Look at how big they are, right? Now, what about over here, Chad? Which, well, look at that thing. I really don't know what that is, but anyway. Look at all the basil over here. There's no tomato plants ever in this section. So why did you have all these basil plants growing over here? I like the smell of basil in the garden. Love it, love it, love it. And I like how it looks, because I have 3 or 4 different types of basil that you've seen already in this video. My favorite is that one right there. This is called cardinal basil. I got those seeds from Baker Creek. And these are actually a second-year volunteer basil plant right there. I did not plant that this year. I planted it last year, dropped its seeds, and grew again this year. Absolutely love volunteer plants so much. Why do you have so many different types of basil growing? Again, I like basil in the garden, but I love how they look. I love the different flowers, different color flowers, and all that. But I love the fact that if you let the basil just go to flower, you're not only benefiting your garden, because they are going to drop their seeds, and then you don't have to plant them anymore. They will just keep coming back. And if you let them grow really big around your tomato plants, you don't have to worry at all about the hornworm, because this year, second year in a row, did not have a single hornworm on any of the tomato plants that were in here. Third, and most important to me, are the bees. We are giving food sources to our bees. And this time of year, at least down here, and I'm sure if you're up north, it's even more dire for the bees. They need as much food, as much pollen as they can get in a short amount of time before the winter hits, and they have to go into whatever they do for winter, hibernate or whatever. I don't know the term for that, but we all know they're not flying around in the winter. So what is that? Good night. That bee was huge, y'all. That was a big old carpenter bee just buzzing me. But this time of year, it's very important. Let's see if I can get that thing. Hold on. Well, I'm not sure if you got it, but that carpenter bee was on the basil plant. So it's not just honeybees. Carpenter bees, all kinds of bees need the pollen for the winter. Now down here, it's not as dire as it is, say, way up north where you actually get lots of snow. But the bees, now this is a loofah flower, but still, you see they are collecting and collecting and collecting. They are right now in a pollen collecting free-for-all because they know winter is coming, the cold weather's coming, and they need as many flowers as they can get. So if you are able to allow your flowers, your basil plants, to just flower and grow and grow and grow for as long as possible, you're not only benefiting your garden, because again, your basil plants are going to be dropping those seeds, and next year, guess what you don't need to really worry about planting? Basil. They will self-seed plant. They will self-plant, basically. Self-seed, I guess. And you're helping the bees. As I'm standing here, y'all, looking at this one plant, there's 7 or 8 different honeybees on, well, probably not gonna be able to see them, but there's one buzzing around right down there. There's a bunch right up here. Let's see if I can get them. Yep, there you go. There are a bunch more on the other side. And y'all, that's what you want to see. This time of year, you are going to be helping your bee population in your area if you can have as many flowers out there for them to collect pollen from as possible. And if you allow your basil plants to just grow and grow and grow, I mean, look at all the flowers on that plant. It's way more than, say, a rose bush or you know, whatever, insert whatever flower you're thinking about. The basil plants go crazy. Now, you can't really use the basil leaves when they start to get like this, because when they start to bolt, is what that's called, when herbs and vegetables start to flower, it's called bolting. When they start to bolt, the flavor of the basil seeds tend to get bitterish, a little bit bitter, I guess, the more proper way to say that. So you're not using this for culinary purposes usually. You're going to be using this for the reasons I've said in this video. And the main reason, again, is the bees. Now, one other thing you could do with the basil plants when they get this size is you could start propagating. You start cutting branches and stuff off, get them in however you want to propagate, whether it's in water or you put some little root compound and plant them somewhere so you can have other transplants elsewhere. Another reason you can use the basil plants when they get like this. But for me, I like to use it for the bees. This time of year, I will leave these in until, honestly, until December 3rd-ish, when Zone 9B down here gets their first frost. That's when we are expected for our first frost, is December 3rd. And once that hits, it kills everything. Then you start yanking everything out. But at that point, the bees are already pretty much done. They're doing their winter slumber or whatever, and it's time to start the whole gardening process over again for the next year. So if you've never done this before, think about it for 2026, y'all. Get 2, 3, 4 different types of basil. Plant them in different parts of your garden so you know which ones are what. And then let them just grow and grow and grow. But think about doing that for 2026. Give your bees as much love and food as you possibly can to help them, which in turn helps your garden. Without the bees, y'all, there's no pollination. Let's be real. Now there are other pollinators, but not like bees. Bees are the rock star. Let's keep it real, right? Hopefully y'all got something out of this video. Maybe if nothing else, just some food for thought for 2026. So y'all take care. May God continue to bless each and every one of you, and I'll talk to y'all again real soon. Bye.